Now let's begin the conversation. An American lawyer and judge, Porter Stewart, once said, ethics is knowing the difference between what you have a right to do and what is right to do. The legal profession in Nigeria has come under scrutiny once again, and there are calls to check the excesses of lawyers and ethical misconduct. At the maiden annual lecture of the body of benches and the presentation of the report of the direction of the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee in Abuja, a former governor of Lagos State, Babatunde Fashola, emphasized the urgent need to arrest ethical misconduct that has crept into the legal profession. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN, Justice Kudirat Kekere, also raised concern that strict adherence to ethical principles in the legal profession is facing serious challenges. Okay, BK, talking about the legal profession, lawyers, judges, and all that. But let's talk about, let's start with lawyers first, because, what do we blame for the rising cases of misconduct among lawyers?
First and foremost, we've got to admit that lawyers or judicial officers, speaking in broader terms now,
yes,
don't live in isolation. They are part and parcel of our country. And we all know that we have a terribly corrupt system. So if in Nigeria our system is very corrupt, then we should not expect that lawyers will be Puritans. They are part and parcel of the system that we all know is manifestly corrupt. So we do not expect that lawyers and legal practitioners generally would be behaving like people who exist in heaven. So every profession has its own self-regulatory and disciplinary framework that regulates the conduct of practitioners.
Okay.
The legal profession in Nigeria is governed by laws, but most of the time these laws are not adhered to, not because these rules are not there, not because the rules are not there, but because a lot of the lawyers and even judges have chosen to simply brush aside the rules and the sanctions prescribed by the regulatory framework that is in place. What Fashola wants to see, former Governor Fashola, is for lawyers who had been known to demonstrate aberrant conduct to not get into the inner bar. But the truth is, a lot of these people start misbehaving once they have attained the rank of a silk.
Okay.
Yes. Once some of these guys have become senior advocate of Nigeria, you start seeing them demonstrate unwholesome conduct that were not known to them. Maybe they believe that having entered the inner bar, they are superior to other lawyers, and therefore they start exhibiting some irresponsible conduct, like insulting judges within the four walls of a court, like even disclosing information, critical information about their clients to the adversary for pecuniary gain.
Really?
Yes. There are so many things that these judges do.
Terrible.
Sometimes judges are not supposed to, for example, advertise, for cases. But men, I said judges, lawyers are not supposed to advertise, for cases, especially criminal cases. But in Nigeria, we see lawyers pushing to be given certain cases. And we've seen even senior lawyers and junior lawyers clash as a result of this. Some of them, when they are chasing elevation to the inner bar, they even go as far as walking up to public servants working in the judiciary to buy criminal cases.
To shop for cases,
yes,
just to get to that
elevated status. So, and if you embezzle clients' money, there are lawyers who embezzle clients' money. If you embezzle clients' money, we all know that this is wrong. A lawyer is supposed to behave in a very responsible fashion. He has an obligation to his colleagues and to judges. And you must respect your colleague. You must respect judges. But we don't see that. We see lawyers disrespect their colleagues, believing that nothing will happen. When lawyers shop for cases, sometimes they tell the client that, look, I know judges. I know judges, don't worry, let me have this case. Of course, if you tell a client that, you know judges, that means you can facilitate victory. It's most likely to switch in your direction. Sure. These are things that judges, lawyers, I don't know why I keep mentioning judges. I know the day of the judges will come. When we'll talk about but today we are talking about lawyers. And I'm saying, look, I appreciate what former Governor Fashola said, that don't allow the bad lawyers to get into the inner bar. Good suggestion. But how much of investigation is done by the regulator before people are elevated to the rank of SAN? Okay. They will be waiting for the public to do petitions to say all kinds of that will help them to discover whether somebody is good enough to be elevated or not. No. On their own, they have to do due diligence. So I agree that they need to do due diligence before people get into the inner bar. But I'm also saying that there are some of them that you would never have had any untoward stories about them until they get elevated. Once they get elevated, they see themselves as belonging to the rarefied class. And you start seeing some of these terrible conducts that we keep talking about, indiscipline, stealing clients' money, advising clients to disobey court order. Lawyers, they know I'm saying the truth about them. They sometimes will advise their client not to obey court order. And there are so many other things that they do. I still believe that the regulatory bodies need to do a lot more. Punish them promptly. And even the NJC is guilty of not also punishing judges and other judicial officers promptly. They need to do, once lawyers know that no time will be wasted to fish them out and punish them appropriately, we'll start seeing good behavior on show. But for now, it takes a long time before they even fish out these aberrant lawyers and punishing them. All right,
Kaide, I want your thoughts on this. Talk about why do we have this rising cases of misconduct among lawyers. And also, another thing the former governor said, he asked the body of benchers that when will they be fair to remove all of these unsuitable persons and characters before they bring dishonor to the profession.
You see, okay, maybe what BKO has done is to give us a broad view of the level of unethical practices that we see in the profession. And so that it's not misunderstood. I think one thing is clear. Fashola is a lawyer. The CJN who was also there is a lawyer. So she's a judge. But what we're trying to say is that it's not all lawyers. But for those who are spoiling the name until something drastic, something very, very serious is done, we may not have a headway. Having said that, I'd like to start from this angle. You know, I was watching Journalist Hangout a few days ago, and you know, my wife was with me at home. I was on leave, and my wife is an HR professional, and she listened to that kind of comments that was made about BKO in another station. And the first thing is, do you guys have ethics in your profession? In fact, I pretended as if I didn't hear her. So that was a big slap on me as a person who's always putting out truth. We have ethics, we respect seniority, we know how we talk to ourselves. But, you know, so when I listened to their comment, because she was listening with me, and it was like, no, now, you guys should do something serious. This is beyond just talking about it on TV. Okay. This is to say that unethical practice is unethical practice. It's a profession. And it must be respected. That's why there are rules, there are regulations that must be talked about. One critical thing Fashola mentioned is this idea of television lawyers. He calls them television lawyers. These are people who go to different, who have no respect. Exactly. You know, you remember, I'm sorry, I don't want to mention his name because he's a friend of the house. Somebody has been put to jail for unsavory comments like that in court, a lawyer. Really? Just because they had to tell him that you're not on TV.
Yes.
There are rules in this house. There are ways things must be done.
Sent him to jail.
Do you understand? So you see a lot of people pandering. They want to have views. They want to have numbers. They want to have gullible clients who will rush to them that, ah, man, you need to listen to that lawyer. You understand what I'm saying? So let's respect this legal profession. It is called, you know, they are like this, the saving grace of our democracy, and it must be kept seriously. Exactly. There's no democracy without the rule of law, and so everything should be done to respect the profession. You listen to his son who has argued case, explain things to you, give you the background, and the next thing you will hear is, oh, you come on TV and denigrate such senior people. So I just feel that Fashola is pained. If you look at the CJN in that lecture too, she was also angry. In fact, I wrote some of the comments she wrote down, and it was painful. And even the VP had to say, judiciary, don't be swayed, don't be intimidated by these television lawyers. Exactly. So and I think it's also a wake-up call to us as a profession. He's one of the seniors.
Now, BK was still talking about being firm. What do you think the profession should do or be seen doing, you know, to make this issue of discipline, so that it won't be as if they be like a dog that can bark but can't bite?
Yes, as I said earlier, the legal profession has failed in terms of ensuring self-regulation and implementing the disciplinary framework that have been put in place, you know, to ensure that lawyers behave themselves at all times. The legal practitioner rules of professional conduct is there, and it has elaborate provisions, you know, that deals with aberrant conduct of legal practitioners and how and what would happen if you did this, if you did that. But these rules are consistently breached. They are observed in the breach, and these lawyers get away with it. For example, lawyers filing ridiculous cases before our courts. I remember a lawyer who moved from the southeast to go and file a case
maybe Jigawa
in Breeding Kudu.
Okay.
No, that's the local government of Sule Lamido. He went as, and he knew that, look, it was a waste of time. Because look, a case that didn't emanate from Jigawa emanated from the southeast. And you take it far north. Anambra State, to be precise. You then go all the way to the northwest to go and institute a case. All they're after is take money from the client, deceive the client. Such behaviors are not what we want to see.
Do you think the penalties are not strong enough? Like a name and shame or something?
The thing is the slow pace of administering justice. Oh, that is the problem. I mean, are you going to say the NJC, for example, has not got the power to to back and bite. Of course, it has got the power to back and bite. But we do not often see them bite. That is the problem. You want to punish a judge who put the profession to shame. You got a petition. For months, you did not do anything about that petition. Until that judge left the service. You now released a judgment after he had left the service. Well, of course, the judge even still took them to court. Yes. There was another one immediately after he retired, you know, after he quit unceremoniously. We then saw punishment being meted out to him. I said, what's going on? You should have done this before he left. If you did that, we will see clearly that you are trying to deal with corruption within the system. But that's not what we see. It's not like, go and check. It's not as if there are no regulations. It's not as if the stipulations are not clear. But the reluctance to apply the rules, to apply the punishments stipulated in this the body of rules meant to govern the conduct of lawyers is the slow pace of administration of justice. So that is the problem for me.
To speed it up, where should it start from? Should the CJN champion this? The body of benches champion this? The NBA? Who should champion this?
Yeah,
the speedy administration.
Definitely the NJC is the key body here. And the body of benches where Fashola was addressing is also telling them, you need to bite. People cannot be discussing a case in court on TV and be postulating. Even some of the lawyers who are going to be in court are already discussing it on TV. These are simple cases. Exactly. That's the way we learn from in this job, that we can't discuss the issue. You only mention what happens in court. When you go into analysis and begin to do all those things, even as lawyers, you're supposed to refrain yourself. So these are issues that Fashola is saying that, hey, when I was in this branch, I mean this parish, this is...
We are not doing this.
We're not doing this. And he's still alive, so you can't imagine.
And the thing is, they even lie. The lawyer knows that this is black. He knows that this is black.
Okay, they tell the client something else. Just
so they come on air to lie. They come on air to lie.
And it's deliberate.
They come on air to lie. This is it. They know what they are doing. The court gives a judgment. They will now go and twist the judgment with the desire to fool the Nigerian people. We see them. I don't know where these lawyers came from. Whose goal is simply to come,
judgment.
Yes, who go to TV stations, who go to talk to newspaper editors and lie and mislead. Justice Amobeda of the Federal High Court in Kano, he said, if any of you misinterprets my judgment, he was reading the judgment. Before then, he warned them. He said, if any of you misinterprets my judgment, I will send you to jail. There's only one journalist that I know in this country who interprets court cases competently, and that is Babajide Kolaude Titoju. Justice Amobeda of the Federal High Court in Kano.
All right, gentlemen. We have Pastor Emmanuel calling in from Rivers State. Pastor Samuel, let's talk. Pastor Samuel, we can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. Let's talk. Oh, I'm so sorry. Try and call us back. Try and call us back. The audio is bad. Because in bringing a turnaround, okay, because just like what I asked,
people have no reason to misinterpret court judgments. At best, you can wait for the certified true copy of the judgment
to come out.
That's why I mentioned Justice Amobeda. It can be painful if a judge gives a judgment. Everybody can see what happened. And then journalists go to twist the judgment. And Justice Amobeda said, no, I'm not going to take he warned them that if any of you misinterprets my judgment, I'm sending you to jail. He warned them in open court. And then said, do you people not listen to that journalist, Babajide Kolade Otitoju, look at the way he interprets court judgments. I felt honored when our correspondent, Ibrahim Issa, told me that this was what a judge said in open court about you. That no judge had ever done that about a Nigerian journalist. I felt proud. Because we always tell them that, look, there's no point misleading the viewers. There's no point misleading. You know that you are lying. All your years are years of waste as a professional. If you come to a TV station with the desire to mislead Nigerians, such lawyers, whether they are junior or senior, they deserve to be reprimanded.
Exactly.
So that they don't continue feeding people with a diet of lies and misinformation.
Absolutely. All right, we have Ezenwa calling in from Enugu. Ezenwa, let's talk.
Okay. I want to commend the TVC, especially Babajide Kolade Otitoju and his team. I really want to commend Fashola for what he said. What he said is timely, and it is clear for everybody to see.
Yes.
But it's not peculiar to lawyers and judges. I think there is a general indiscipline in this country. Recently, the Police Service Commission invalidated a court of appeal judgment, and retired policemen, and they are back to court. You see, we have taken this culture of doing the wrong thing and asking people to go to court. I really want to beg Nigeria. Let us not destroy our country. Let us be disciplined. Legal profession is a highly disciplined profession. The lawyers, I just heard what Babajide said. The lawyer to move from the east to the far north, that he clearly know that that court lacks jurisdiction. It is very shameful, and let me tell you, it is distressing that you wake up every day, you'll be hearing one indiscipline here, one indiscipline there. Thank you very much, TVC.
All right,
thank you.
Thank you very much.
There is something that lawyers do in our country, especially senior lawyers, and they should be ashamed of themselves.
What's that?
Senior lawyers serving as conduits to funnel money to judges. Because these judges cannot access litigants. It's not easy for a judge high up there to access litigants. It's still lawyers
that will still
that help funnel money to corrupt judges.
That's embarrassing.
This is what is happening. People like Fashola may not have gone up to that extent, but it is our job as journalists to speak the truth.
Exactly.
No matter whose ox is God.
Absolutely.
So this is happening. Funneling money to judges.
And it needs to stop.
It has to stop.
It needs to stop.
I once spoke about a lawyer who saw a judge at a funeral and started abusing the judge, the senior judge. And they told her, I said, why? Why are you abusing an elderly man like this? He said, an elderly man that has no shame, an elderly man with zero integrity, why won't I abuse him?
Because
the judge took money directly from his client.
Oh, really?
Wow.
And at the end of the day, once the judge has been settled, the client does not feel any need to pay the legal fees.
Lawyer, exactly.
To pay the professional fees of the lawyer.
So let's just
leave this matter.
Let's just leave it that way. Okay? We need to go on this quick break, and when we return, the conversation continues. Don't go anywhere.